Welcome to the Great Basin Fire Potential Briefing for Monday, August 24th. Over the next several days, we will continue to have increases to fire potential across the Great Basin. We will have lightning today over much of Nevada into far southwest Idaho and parts of the higher terrain of Utah. These thunderstorms will be a mix of wet and dry, with the better chances of wet thunderstorms being across Utah into southeast Nevada, and the better chances of drier storms being over western and northern Nevada up into southwest Idaho. On Tuesday, drier air moves in from the southwest and pushes lightning activity over the northern and eastern side of the Great Basin. And then on Wednesday, most lightning activity will be on the wetter side or a mix of wet and dry further north across Idaho. We'll also see an increase in winds along with drier air moving into southwest and eastern Nevada starting Tuesday but increasing on Wednesday. We will continue to have increased initial attack and the potential for new large fires due to the amount of lightning in fuels that are very critical. Looking at the smoke dispersion forecast, we still have plenty of wildfire smoke to deal with coming from the California wildfires, and this smoke will continue to affect western and northern Nevada up into Idaho and Wyoming this afternoon, and similar conditions are expected on Tuesday. However, the smoke may move a little bit further east into parts of central Nevada. Over the last 24 hours, we've seen lightning over the southern half and western areas of the Great Basin. These thunderstorms were a mix of wet and dry. We saw much wetter storms over southern areas of Nevada into the Arizona Strip and southwest Utah, where we did see plenty of areas of heavy rain and flash flooding as well. This lightning over the western part of Nevada into the Sierra Front was overnight into early this morning and has now moved up into the north. These thunderstorms also did produce some rainfall and increased humidity. Great Basin fire activity yesterday was light to moderate with 19 new fires reported for just over 2,700 acres. You can see a few new large fires over parts of the Arizona Strip into southwest and western Utah. Over the last 7 days, we've had very light precipitation, just spotty associated with thunderstorm activity. This does not take into account what we saw yesterday with the heavier rainfall over parts of southern areas of the Great Basin. And over the last 30 days, generally well below normal precipitation area-wide, with the exception of areas that saw a little bit more lightning activity over western and northern areas. Currently, our fuel conditions are still very critical, although they have come down a little bit in areas that we did see recent moisture in parts of the south. However, our ERCs are still between the 90th and over the 97th percentile over much of central and northern Utah, and now even up into northern Nevada and southern and central Idaho. Quick look at some of our fuel charts. Over parts of northern areas of the Great Basin, ERCs are certainly still above normal and approaching records in some of the drier spots. And then in southern areas, ERCs have started to trend downward, but are still well above normal and well above records for the time of year. Looking at our satellite image from this morning, you can see an area of low pressure off the west coast with high pressure over the Four Corners region, and moisture has moved north under this high pressure and has been pushed off to the north and east with this southwest flow in between the trough off the coast and the high over the Great Basin. So this is generally, again, where we'll continue to see moisture trapped for lightning over the next 24 to 48 hours. Later this afternoon, again, most of the moisture is located over really all of the Great Basin with the exception of the far north and the far northwest corner of Nevada. However, we do have a large area of high risk for lightning, which encompasses all of northern and western Nevada. We could see some of this activity creep north across the Idaho border and also into far northwest Utah. But again, the main threat will be over much of Nevada. Further south, we'll continue to see lightning over the higher terrain of Utah especially. However, this lightning activity is again expected to be on the wetter side. Relative humidity will be a little bit elevated today, especially in the higher terrain of Utah, where relative humidity will not drop below 18 or 20%. Further west, we will see relative humidity in the teens across much of the Great Basin. And you can see from our model forecast on the right where we are expecting that lightning activity for the most part over western, central, and northeast Nevada, possibly into southern Idaho and northwest Utah, and then again more isolated or wetter storms expected in the higher terrain of Utah. As we move into Tuesday, dry air starts to move into the Sierra. This will push lightning activity over northern and eastern sides of the Great Basin. Again, being a mix of wet and dry, especially drier as you go further north with the increased storm motion that we have been seeing over northern and western Nevada today. So we do have a large area of high risk again for northern areas as that lightning moves up in those areas. Again, will be a mix of wet and dry, but with the faster storm motions and the gusty outflow winds, that will be the main threat for new starts up north. Further south, any activity will be a little bit more isolated and on the wetter side. Relative humidity again will remain elevated across the higher terrain of Utah, and will be increasing across Idaho as that moisture moves up, but initially storms will be a mix of wet and dry. You can see from the model depiction on the right, storms are expected over the northern and northeast corner of Nevada, and then again, stronger storms up into Idaho, and still continuing over the higher terrain of Utah and into parts of northern Utah. As we move into Wednesday, we will have that dry air now push into the southern and eastern portions of Nevada, so we will see those dryness levels lower, and the best chance for lightning will now be pushed off to the north. However, will be more of a mix of wet and dry with some higher humidity, so the risk of larger fires will decrease, but we certainly could start seeing some holdovers pop up in areas where the drier air is moving in over southern areas of the Great Basin starting Wednesday. We'll also see the winds pick up a little bit from the southwest on Wednesday as well. Relative humidity again dropping back into the single digits over southern Nevada, and it's in those areas where the winds pick up a little bit and we will see some holdovers, at least the potential for it, and then the mixed wet and dry showers and thunderstorms up north. We also could see a little bit of isolated thunderstorms still hanging on over southeast Utah. Overall forecast amounts of precipitation are not expected to be significant, but we certainly could see some thunderstorms produce some locally heavy rain, especially further south across Utah, which is where the wetter potential for lightning will be. Further north, again, we'll see more spotty precipitation. As we move into Thursday, we see that dry air now push into northern and western areas of the Great Basin. Some moisture returns to southern areas, so we'll likely see some lightning return to the Arizona Strip and parts of southern and central Utah. Again, being a mix of wet and dry, or on the wetter side, being that far south. Similar conditions on Friday. We will start to again see that dry air really take shape over the north, and we do have a cold front dropping south for the weekend for northern areas, so we'll be watching winds increase as we get into the weekend. Otherwise, no high risk for Friday at this time. Any lightning will be on the wetter side probably and confined to southeast Utah. As we move into Saturday, still some lightning over the eastern sides of the Great Basin, but still dry and breezier, especially up north, with no high risk. And then we'll really be watching Sunday as that cold front drops south. Winds could increase more significantly later in the weekend over northern Nevada, northern Utah, and Idaho. And that will be significant certainly after the lightning we're expecting, so we could see the potential for holdovers or affecting any ongoing incidents at that time. The 7-day amount of precipitation is not much different than the 3-day, as most of the lightning producing precipitation will occur in the next few days. The 8 to 14-day outlook, taking us from August 31st to September 6th, shows cooler conditions now over northern and eastern areas and drier conditions. This is likely indicative of some cold fronts dropping down from the north, so we can be expecting some windier conditions as we get later in the month into early September. That concludes our webcast for today. Check back tomorrow for the latest updates.